Saturday, March 2nd, it's Kyle Hunter here for bangthebook.com. Got a huge slate here of college basketball action on Saturday. You know, every Saturday is a big slate of games, but I have to say, I think this Saturday's games are about as good as we've seen on any Saturday. Lots of mid-major key contests, lots of big-name key contests. Listen, this is the time of the year where it starts mattering a lot. You know, people can sleepwalk through January, sometimes even February, but you get to March, it matters a lot more. And obviously, we have conference tournaments starting next week. Lots of stuff going on, lots of stuff going on at bangthebook.com. You can check out my daily article, college basketball free picks article 67 and 42 so far this year. So glad we've been able to help some people make money here and build up their bankroll. That'll be the goal here the rest of the season, certainly. And always try to give some angles that are helpful for you to help you be a better yourself. The the website always has tons of stuff going on there at bangthebook.com. We've got situational spots articles from Adam and myself. You've got the daily videos here on the YouTube page for Bang the Book from Adam Burke. You've got a couple videos a week here from myself, and then some videos from Brian Blessing as well. So you got a lot to check out at Bang the Book. There's always game previews, free picks. If you're not already doing that, I suggest you do so. Always a good way to make yourself a more educated, better, and try to help yourself here as we go into what is a very busy time period for college basketball. I know the next few weeks are going to be very busy for myself and everybody in this industry. It's a busy time of the year. College basketball coming into March Madness, conference tournament, and then March Madness. Lots of the smaller conference tournaments are going to have value. And don't forget about those postseason tournaments like the NIT and CBI. So we'll talk about those more as we head forward. But let's get into the Saturday, March 2nd slate here for college basketball. First of all, I'm going to try to isolate some games that I think will help you make some money. That's always my goal, trying to help people out as much as we can. And I think, like I said, there's lots of tools that Bang the Book. If you haven't already been using those, I suggest you do so. Michigan State and Indiana. So I'm going to give you what I think the line will be, somewhere around that, what I would make the line. Michigan State minus 7.5, 137, 137.5, somewhere in that range for the total. Michigan State looking for revenge from that loss at home to Indiana. That was in that period where Michigan State was playing some disappointing basketball. They lost 3 straight games. Other than that little stretch, Michigan State's looked like the best team in the Big Ten and looks like a national title contender. Let's see what they do in this game. The thing that really stands out to me from that first game, Indiana had 20 offensive rebounds against a Tom Izzo coach team. Really pretty amazing. I don't think that's going to happen again. I really don't. I think that Michigan State themselves are very good on the offensive glass, and they got plenty of offensive boards there in that contest as well, but Indiana had even more. I think Michigan State does better on the boards here. Indiana coming off that double overtime win against Wisconsin. Is that good for them or bad for them? Because Indiana's been really inconsistent this year. Are we going to get good Indiana or bad Indiana? This team has potential, and I think that their long-term trajectory is upward for Indiana. But I do worry about them in this spot. I think Michigan State would be my lean with the points, laying the points here. I just think that this is a Michigan State offense that's number 1 in offensive efficiency in the Big Ten. Indiana is 13th in offensive efficiency. And those scoring droughts that Indiana can go through can really hurt them in key games. I think that'll probably hurt them in this one. I think Michigan State gets some revenge. Texas Tech, TCU. Texas Tech minus 3.5, 134.5, 135, somewhere in that range. TCU off a triple overtime loss against West Virginia. Look, that was a really, really painful loss for TCU. TCU is a team that has been up and down throughout the course of the season. The Big 12 is the Big 12. They're very deep. I don't know if anybody in the Big 12 can win the national title. I'd be pretty surprised if anybody did from that conference. However, there's no bad teams in the Big 12. So you never get a night off. And you'll see that some of these teams just wear down over time. TCU off that triple overtime loss. Texas Tech off an overtime win against Oklahoma State in a very sleepy spot. I did point out that one in the CBB situational spots article earlier this week at bangthebook.com. You can check out the spots here for the rest of this week, and then I'll have one more up for next week as well. I think Texas Tech was just in a bad spot there. I mean, this Texas Tech team coming off a huge win against Kansas. Sloppy in that last game. They almost paid for it, but not quite. Look, Texas Tech's offense has been much better of late. That's been the key to them having success here, is that Texas Tech, is not only relying on their defense right now. I think the emergence of Mooney and the backcourt there for Texas Tech has been really big. Not just scoring, but facilitating this offense. I think that Culver is obviously a tremendous offensive weapon. Everybody knows that. But Texas Tech is now having Mooney get involved, creating open looks for other people or getting his own. Texas Tech, much more dangerous than they looked a few weeks ago. I think that this is a really tough game to handicap. I would say that, this is one where I would normally want to play Texas Tech based on TCU coming off that spot. But I do think that TCU now is going to be downgraded by the odds makers and bettors to where this may be a very public favorite in Texas Tech. And I don't know if I want to be on the same side as the public laying points with the Texas Tech team. That is a good team, but not an elite team. Penn State and Wisconsin, here's one that I have a stronger opinion on. I think Wisconsin maybe somewhere around 7 or 7.5 is what the line will be. I think that might be a little high, to be honest with you, as far as my opinion. Penn State playing really good basketball right now. I said a few weeks ago Penn State was very undervalued. It'd be a good time to buy them low. That has worked out really well. I wish I had played them more times than I had. Penn State's been very good here of late. Pat Chambers' team is way better than they looked early in the season. They're finally showing it. Wisconsin off the double overtime loss to Indiana. Wisconsin's not a very deep team. I think that this Wisconsin team is just, very good on defense. They slow the game down. Ethan Happ's a great player. Their outside shooters have not been near as good lately. And if they're not hitting those three-point shots, it puts a lot of pressure on Ethan Happ. Wisconsin, a good team. I don't think they're a great team. And I think that Penn State can stay close in this game. So I definitely lean toward Penn State plus the points here, thinking that Wisconsin is not in a great spot and Penn State still might be a little bit undervalued. Idaho State and Northern Colorado. So we go from some major conference games all the way to Idaho State and Northern Colorado. I love talking about games like this, as you know. Northern Colorado minus 13, 13.5, 146 or 147 the total here in this one. Northern Colorado played this Monday and Thursday. Third game this week. So tough spot scheduling for them. What about Idaho State? Idaho State has not played since February 19th. This makes no sense at all to me. I don't know what's going on with this scheduling quirk. Having said that, does Idaho State even care about this game? Let's look at what they've done recently. Terrible defense for Idaho State. They almost gave up 100 points against Portland State. They've allowed 1.08 points per possession or higher in every single Big Sky game. So this is a terrible Idaho State defense. I think Northern Colorado is just a much better team. I would be cautious about laying a ton of points here, but man, I mean, this is one that Northern Colorado needs in the Big Sky standings. What's Idaho State after taking off nearly 2 weeks? I think this is an odd spot for both teams in that Northern Colorado has played now the third game this week. Idaho State hasn't played in a long time. Illinois State and Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois minus 6, 133.5 in that range is where I think the total will come out. Southern Illinois' offense has been much more efficient of late. 1.036 points per possession or more in 7 of their last 8 Missouri Valley Conference games. Now, that doesn't sound great, and it's not great on a national landscape, but the Missouri Valley Conference, known for low-scoring games, defense, slow tempo, not very many people can get a high efficiency on offense in this conference. So 1.036 points per possession in 7 of their last 8 games is actually very good for Southern Illinois. So they've definitely been much better here. This is the last regular season game here. And I have to say, I've already done some of these angles at Bang the Book on those daily articles. If you haven't already checked out those, I suggest you do so. I've talked about these some also on the Bang the Book radio show with Adam Burke. I have to tell you that late season games between teams who are mediocre or not that good, they're either disappointed that they're not where they thought they would be, or they've just had a bad season overall. So you get teams that haven't had a really high winning percentage against each other. Those have been good overs here in the past. So keep an eye on that here as we head down to the end of the regular season. That's especially the case here in the last game or two of the regular season. So In this one, Illinois State, Southern Illinois, definitely lean to the over in this game. Ball State and Western Michigan. Ball State -4. I think this total's in the mid 140s. Another late season game that fits that angle that I was just talking to you about. This is something that's 55, 56% long term, just taking overs between teams who are mediocre or worse in their last couple games of the season. This one's not a huge game for either team. You know, Ball State has been disappointing this year. I thought they'd be better than they are. Western Michigan, not a big surprise that they're not very good this year, but it doesn't hurt the over lean in this one either. That the over is a whopping 30-9 in Western Michigan's last 39 home games with a total of 156 or lower. So Western Michigan has had some low-scoring games on the road, but they've been high-scoring pretty consistently at home. So certainly lean to the over with Ball State and Western Michigan. Last game we'll talk about here, marquee matchup, Kentucky and Tennessee. I think this one's around pick'em. Kentucky has the higher upside to me. Tennessee was really consistent for a long time. I'm concerned with Tennessee not playing as well here in their last few games. I think this team is not peaking at the right time. They're kind of going in the wrong direction right now. I've told you before, I don't really trust Rick Barnes, especially in the NCAA tournament. So I don't hate this Tennessee team by any means. I just think that their upside might not be quite as high as what some people think. So in a game like this, though, what do you think? Because this game means more to Tennessee than it does to Kentucky. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Kentucky already beat them down at Kentucky. Tennessee has to prove a point. Can they do it, though? I mean, I think Kentucky is the more talented team. Can Tennessee rise to the level to meet their intensity and take down Kentucky with that strong defense this time? I don't know. I think the under would be my lean in this game based on the fact that, I think both teams are better defensively than they were earlier in the season, but Tennessee is regressing somewhat offensively. Kentucky's offense is pretty good, not a great offense, but I think this could be a pretty high-intensity game. Tennessee likely shows up a lot better than they did before. As long as they can get defensive rebounds, that's the big key here in this game from both of them on the side. And if you like the total, that would be the one thing I'd be concerned about with the under. But I would lean to the under in this game. Probably a game I will not bet here, Kentucky and Tennessee. If you're not already, follow me on Twitter at Kyle Hunter Picks. Also, subscribe to this Bang the Book on YouTube. You can get all the videos right away as soon as those are done. There'll be plenty of stuff here going forward through a very busy month of March. Check out my daily free pick article at bangthebook.com. Definitely check out everything that's going on there. If you have any comments, questions, be sure to leave those below this video, or you can send me a message at Kyle Hunter Picks on Twitter, at Bang the Book on Twitter. Certainly appreciate everybody tuning in. Give this a thumbs up real quick if you have a chance to as well. I appreciate everybody who has liked these videos in the past, and we'll try to keep these going here through the month of March as March Madness nears us. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Best of luck with all your plays.